Hi everybody, welcome to 7th grade English. My name is Andrew Spinali. This is my third year teaching 7th grade English here at Parker Middle School. I've been lucky enough to spend all three working on the Costa team, and I'm very excited to work with, if you're a student, you, and if you're a parent, with your child throughout the year. This video is for in case you were at a presentation that I got kind of cut off by the bell, or if you couldn't make open house this night. I'm going to really quickly go over the basic outlines of the presentation. There's been some significant changes to the English curriculum this year to align us with the federal Common Core frameworks, and we'll be talking as we go throughout the activity. Throughout the presentation, you'll notice that some items are have asterisks next to them, and those are things that have been changed as a result of the Common Core frameworks. So, in any case, we're talking about this idea of creating work for an audience greater than one. And what we mean by that is we want to make, across the board, across the team, we want to make writing meaningful for students so that they understand the value of their work and that it has real-world application. It's not just to be graded by a teacher, that their ideas are out there to be shared. As a result, across the team this year, we're going to be working on three real areas that we feel all good writing falls into, and that's talking about the focus, talking about the appropriate style, and talking about credibility. And with each assignment, the definition of those items are going to change, but however, we feel those are three essential things that all writing has to have no matter what it is. So whether it's a conclusion in a science lab, or a personal narrative in English, or a research paper in social studies, all these elements have to be in place. The reason why I mentioned that's kind of a team-wide goal is that this year one of the biggest changes is that literacy is now being discussed as an across the curriculum responsibility. And what I mean by that is that the Common Core frameworks now add emphasis on literacy occurring both in science, social studies, and even Spanish. So we're going to be working together, the four of us as a team, myself, Jane Costa, Leah Christie, and Bill McIndore, to make sure that we're hitting all of those strands, that we're working together to provide a consistent language for kids to talk about writing. In terms of the ways we develop skills, many of the kids I've already gotten kind of jump right into their writing journals. This is really, as it mentions here, this is where kids get to really explore what it means to be a writer and to develop ideas on their own, and that kind of falls along that line of creating work for an audience greater than one, rather than having us create the prompt for them. We want kids to be creating their own materials and developing their own ideas. You'll notice that both writing in response to literature and persuasive essays, that there are asterisks next to those. That's because as a result of the Common Core, we're going to be doing a lot more work this year with developing persuasion, developing a claim, and supporting that claim with evidence. Personal narratives, we have a few different types of personal narratives, concluding with This I Believe, which is an NPR initiative in June. And then throughout the year, kids will be kind of monitoring their own growth in terms of grammar and spelling with individualized conventions checklists. The next piece to talk about is reading, and this is where we've seen a few other changes or shifts to. The first goal is that students will employ active reading strategies such as questioning, connecting, and inferring. Those are our three real high-level strategies that we want to work on kids this year. And if that happens, goal number 2 is also going to happen, which is that students will use higher order thinking to dig beyond the surface level of a text and to analyze the author's craft. You may notice, if you've had a child in 7th grade before, there have been a couple slight shifts to our curriculum. One thing is that Tom Sawyer is no longer on our list. We found as a English department that in looking at our curriculum, we needed to get more nonfiction and more historical nonfiction infused into what we're doing in class, and unfortunately, as a result, we did have to get rid of Tom. As a result, we will be doing a historical, either a historical fiction or a narrative nonfiction piece in January. And what we'll be doing there, to give you an example, is we'll be tying in. We're looking at a potential historical nonfiction book about the civil rights movement, and we'll also be tying in various essays and articles, possibly Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech, if we go in that direction. And we will be sure to communicate any changes that we make with you in a timely manner. The rest, we do read The Giver in June. Junior Great Books, which you do not have to purchase this year, we'll be using short stories from them, however, in class. There's short stories, as I mentioned before. We will be doing a lot more of looking at nonfiction essays and breaking down the author's craft. Throughout the year, we'll be using a variety of discussion protocols, and there's also reader response journals that the kids will be start working on soon with their free readers. The free readers are really a big step for us this year. We want to give kids more choice in their reading, and we also want the kids to develop some really great thinking strategies that can help them decode and comprehend more complicated text. If you look at this right here, this cartoon says, algebra class will be important to you later in life because there's going to be a test 6 weeks from now. And the last thing that we want on our team is for kids to feel that way about their learning. That their learning is going to have influences in their life well beyond this year and well beyond a report card grade. So in terms of being part of our literacy community on the Costa team, we have two main goals. That students will be a part of an encouraging, engaging group of readers and writers. They will develop effective skills and strategies to give thoughtful feedback, make meaningful revisions, and to reflect on their growth throughout the year. Throughout the year, in English class, kids will be using different protocols to analyze their work and look for areas of strength and look for areas that need improvement, and they will be sharing that with you a lot at home. The second goal is that students will develop and build on a sense of pride and ownership for both the personal and academic decisions that they make. And what I mean when I say that is that we talked about this at the beginning of the year with the kids. Ownership is a real big part of becoming a 7th grader. And we're really looking forward to working with the kids this year on developing skills that allow them to take control of their education. It's not their parents' responsibility. It's not their teacher's responsibility. They need to be responsible for themselves. So in terms of developing these skills and this kind of self-awareness, we use a Team Ning. And I'm going to really quickly show you what that is. X out of here for a moment. And open up my web browser. And the Team Ning has a very, very similar outlook to Facebook. As you can see, it has spots for discussion forums, and then as you scroll down, we're going to see actually blogs from last year here, from now current 8th graders. And this is a great opportunity for kids to comment. And it's really become a neat thing that we started with last year, and it's developed into a very effective way for kids to learn the process of giving feedback. We're also using it as a way to effectively teach digital citizenship. So trying to teach them that you can be part of a social media network and not always make it just about socializing, that there are some elements of learning that go on in a social media environment, and we want to teach the kids how to do that in a responsible way. Both students and teachers will maintain blogs. Digital portfolios, basically all of their work goes on the Ning, so therefore you will be able to kind of track their growth throughout the year. There's a choice in writing, so kids can develop that ownership. Again, the free reader books, kids are taking it on, and they'll be meeting with us to have goal-setting conferences, as well as student-led conferences with you at various stages of the year. That could include open house. It could include just a random night during the week where they come home with an organized presentation that they have to give to you about how things are going in 7th grade. But we really want them to hone that skill of being better at thinking and being better at advocating for themselves as learners and as people. Last piece is communication, and the kids have been really great with this so far, of sending emails to me directly. I always encourage communication from the parents, but I like it even more when I get to hear from the kids if they have issues. Email is the most effective means of communication for me. It's andrew.spinali@reading.k12.ma.us. My phone is the school line, 781-944-1236, extension 104. If you do wish to have a phone conversation with me, please go ahead and email me first and ask. I'm really bad at checking the voicemail sometimes, but if you send me an email saying please call me, I'd be happy to arrange a time to talk to you over the phone or have you in for a meeting. All classroom news is posted on Edline on a daily basis. Homework assignment reminders will be both on the Costa team page and your individual English class page. And there will be a weekly overview, probably around October when we start getting into our first literature unit. We'll have a weekly overview that'll go up, and that will discuss both what's happening in class and out of class that week. Well, I guess there are no questions since I'm the only one talking. But thank you very much for your time, and thanks for listening, and thank you for your continued support throughout the year. I think it's going to be a great year, and I look forward to being a part of a successful 7th grade. Thanks. Bye.